Hi everyone, it's Meg from the Teacher Studio here to give you a little background on my math warm-ups. It is a series for grades 3, 4, and 5. There's different versions for each. And I wanted to walk through the different components in case this is something that you feel would be helpful for you in your classroom. As you can see by this screen, I have divided each of these sets into 9-week chunks. So if you are divided into quarters, this is enough problems, enough math warm-ups for each quarter. So there's 4, they're bundled together. So in all, there's a year's worth of math warm-ups. The reason I developed these was because I know how important the first 10 minutes of math class are, and so often we waste that time. We're collecting papers, we're transitioning, maybe, grading a workbook page, things like that. So the class kind of starts off like this, but that's our students' best learning time. So I wanted to create something that I would have ready to go. I didn't have to go scrambling for it. It was ready to go and would immediately get my students digging into meaningful math, not just fill in the blank stuff, but really get their brains going, kind of setting the stage for our math class. I also wanted to do something that would be replicated. So I didn't have to teach 180 new kinds of problems. I wanted some consistency. So throughout each quarter's worth of math, you will see certain types of problems repeat themselves. Okay, so I'm going to just show you by kind of sliding through here what you get. Oh, by the way, these are tied to the curriculum, the Common Core, and also have worked in the Texas standards and so on. But there's also a little bit of review woven in, especially for some of those concepts that maybe students don't get as often. So this page shows exactly what you get. There's 9 weeks per unit, 5 problems per week. They are great for getting students thinking about math, writing about math. There's teaching tips and suggestions, and they come in multiple formats. I want to show you all of that. Here's a page with suggestions for use. Each one of the units will also give you a list of kind of an overview of the topics covered. They do build in sophistication from the first set to the 4th set. There's a review of the math practice standards because that's really a huge part of what these are. Now, I told you that I had created some problem types that will repeat, and this is true that you'll find them in grades 3, 4, and 5. So I've given you some pages that kind of explain the math thinking behind each one of them. So here are some samples of those problems and the explanation for that. Okay, number lines, true, false. I've also given you information about Math Talk. Now, whether you are in person in your classroom or whether you are virtual, you still need to figure out how to get kids communicating about their thinking, whether it's in writing, whether it's in a Google Meet, whether it's on a Padlet or whatever. But this is geared to help you do that and get kids explaining their thinking. So I've included several different kinds of prompts that you could use either as classroom display or just as discussion starters. So there's a couple different versions for you. I've also included all the information you need to get set up for digital. Each one of these includes the digital file for you. So you can either project these, for example. Now this is a 5th grade, the very first 5th grade set. You can project a slide and have that be in your classroom. You can send it digitally, or you can print them off because I'll scroll down later and show you that there's a grid of 4 black and white ones so that you can print those off and they could be glued into a math notebook. Okay, so you can see that on every slide you're going to see a message like this: be ready to discuss your strategy or your thinking. And you will notice that this is not just a fill in the blank. It doesn't just say, put the greater than or less than sign in. And if there is something like that, the math thinking behind it is more complicated. So, for example, here's one. our students are pretty used to putting things in boxes, right? But what makes this one a little bit different is we don't have the box or the variable on the right side of an equal sign like we typically have. You'll notice this has more than one answer, and there's a hint for students to organize their work. How many solutions do you think there are? Now, you can give students just a set amount of time to work on a problem like this and then bring them back together as a class, or just ask them to work for 5 minutes, especially if you're working digitally. This is perfect because we know that we need to do short bursts when we're doing distance learning, that students can't sustain it. So doing a short mini math warm-up before doing a short mini lesson can get 2 kinds of math thinking in without drawing it out over a long period of time. So I'm just going to kind of scroll to show you a few more. These are some of my favorites. Which of these doesn't belong? Where you ask kids to defend their thinking. There's no right answer. There's plenty of word problems. So there's all the different contents. There's patterning. So I just wanted to, I'm going to scroll way to the bottom here, hopefully. Oh, here we go. Perfect. So when I told you that they were printable, here's exactly what I mean. So you can print a page of these, and you would, for example, for this one, if you have 24 kids in your class, you only need to make 6 copies, dice it up, and they can get glued right into their notebooks where they can solve the math, maybe do some writing about the math, and then if you're in person, they can maybe turn and talk or have a discussion about that, or students can present to the class. Okay, so that is how these math warm-ups work. They're organized by week, and you can see that there's just a whole variety of different kinds of problems. I hope you find this helpful, and again, they're available in grades 3, 4, and 5. They're bundled, and there's actually a free week available for each grade level if you just want to download it and take a peek. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you soon.